My name's Andy Headington. I am Marketing Director of Adido. Thank you very, very, very much for coming along today. It's amazing to have so many people, clients, colleagues, associates of ours come into our Let's Do Digital day today. This has been a day which has been months and months in the making. I'll explain how we got to where we are today and why I'm on the stage at the moment through my presentation. I'm going to be talking for roughly 50 minutes. Q&A, if I can save it to the end, that'd be much appreciated, so we can have a bit of structure to questions and hopefully some answers from me. If my voice starts to deteriorate, I've actually had tonsillitis since Sunday. This is the first day I've been out of bed in 3 days, so please bear with me through the next 50 minutes. My talk today is primarily about change, both in the changes that Adido's gone through in the last 12 to 18 months, and also change in the digital world in 2012 and the change we expect to see in 2013. We work in an industry in the last 10 years that we've been in it, which has changed dramatically through various factors of technology, people, social and economic reasons. And where we are at the moment is a fantastic opportunity for any business to take advantage of in the digital world, but there's still many misconceptions about how to do that. So what I'm going to be talking today is the various factors that we see being important to help businesses succeed online. And obviously there are many, many other great sessions this afternoon and this morning which help take your area of knowledge you want to further into the realms that you probably never even thought about. So I'm talking about change in many different respects. Change is a word that was used very, very heavily by Mr. Barack Obama in 2008. So I'm glad to actually this morning put his face on the screen because he actually won the election this morning. I thought, when I talk about change, who's actually made change happen in the last few years? And this guy's probably done it better than anyone else. He talked about change in 2008. He had a vision of what he wanted to happen in America. Maybe not all of it has actually happened, but it was enough for him to get re-elected despite some of the worst economic conditions ever, some of the worst unemployment America's ever seen. So congratulations to him. He made change happen, people believed his change, and it's worked really well for America. I did have a backup slide of Mr. Romney just in case. But yeah, congratulations to the USA for the next 4 years. Does anybody know who this guy is? Mark Twain. Yes, thank you very much. Mark Twain said several hundred years ago that there are only two certainties in life, and that's death and taxes. It's probably very, very true. But I have a slightly different way of looking at the world, and I guess in my eulogy would probably have something along the lines of this. There are two certainties in life, death and taxes, and if you work in digital, change, and lots of it. That's a picture of me in France on holiday, by the way. We work in a world which is constantly coming up with new things. We work in a world where people are constantly embracing new technology. Only at the weekend I turn on the TV and there's 4G everywhere. Kevin Bacon with his 6 degrees of bacon separation from anyone in the world. You know, 4G technology. 5 years ago, if I'd said to you, you can get broadband speed on a little device that sits in your pocket, people probably wouldn't have believed you. Well, maybe 10 years ago, but 5 years ago, certainly anything approaching broadband speed on a handheld device would have been almost unthinkable. But today, we have it. Does anyone have double E or EE, whatever it's called? And no? Not yet. But change has also happened a lot in our business. Sorry, guys. We started Adido 10 years ago, next August. We finished university, thought about long and hard about what we wanted to do, and I guess, going from what Richard was saying, we wanted to change, I guess, the digital world in some way. In fact, one of our visions at one point was to rebuild the web. A very, very grand statement, but something we've not quite lived up to. In those 10 years, we've changed fundamentally as people. We've grown up, we've had children, we've been married, we've owned houses, we've even got flash cars if Ross is in the room. But we've now grown our company from the 4 of us, this is 2005, 2006, to now nearly 30 of us. This was taken back in September a team building day down in Swanage, which was a fantastic day. And we've grown the company to employ brilliant people covering all sorts of areas of the digital world, from design to build to marketing to strategy, whatever it is. But as we've grown our company, perhaps not even all of our clients have realised all of the different skills that we have. And internally, at times, it's been a little bit something like this, where people need to talk to other people, need to talk to other people, need to talk to other people. But our processes have grown and our business has grown. And our vision has probably changed, but we haven't really communicated that well enough or been organised enough to maximise the results from it. So about a year ago, we started speaking to Richard and the people at Sherlows to say, we've got a great business. We did have a great business. We've won many awards. We worked with some brilliant clients. We've achieved some amazing results for those clients, and our clients and our staff are very, very loyal, which is fantastic. But we need some help to get from where we are now to further down the line. We want to grow our company to make ourselves richer and make our clients richer and make our staff richer for the future. Not only financially, but also emotionally and in values and everything else that goes with that. So Richard came in and analysed us and said, well, where are you in the stage of your business? This is a chart that Sherlows will provide you with if you ask them for one. You can plot yourself on the stages graph for your own personal life, in your career, in your business, whatever it is. And we realised that we're at a certain point now, and we want to get to a certain point, which is advanced growth in our company in a period of time in the future. We didn't quite know how to get there. So we Richard analysed the company and came up with 4 different things that he felt were really important for us to do to help our business grow. They were looking at the vision of the business, looking at the capability, the skills that we had in the company, looking at the functionality in terms of the way the business operated, and then also looking at the culture within the business to see how that could be improved or changed. Now, we already had a great culture. As I said, clients very rarely left us, and still very rarely do leave us. That's not a threat, by the way. And same with staff. We have a very, very, very low turnover of staff, and when people join, it's like joining a big family. We love our staff, everybody loves each other, and we do have very loyal people. So one of the first projects we worked on was looking at the vision. Now, the directors of the company helped to form these ideas and these projects with the help of everyone else in the company. It wasn't us sitting in our offices coming up with our ideas. It was something that was worked on in teams of people. So we helped to shape our vision. What does our vision look like? What does Adido look like in 2, 3, 6 years' time? This will be, hopefully, something resembling the office that Adido will have in a few years' time. We came up with pictures of the vision. We got some numbers down. We even came up with what our new rec room will look like. So once the FIFA tournament's over, we'll play some pool. We then also looked at the capability in the business and what people do what jobs. Do the right people do the right jobs? Do we have the right people in the right areas? Do we have enough skills looking at the right parts of the business to make it function as efficiently as possible? So what's the capability? So we looked at the roles of these different areas. We're in the final stages of identifying the people to fill all these roles, and very soon we'll be making this structure happen inside Adido to make it more effective, to deliver better service, to get better results for our clients, even better than we've ever done before. By the way, I am pleased to say that I am going to be CEO of the company. It sounds very grand, but actually it's quite a numbers-driven task, part of the business, so that will be coming very soon. We also looked at the functionality of the business as well. This is a very, very, very basic view of the company to say, of all the hours that you have within your company and your team, how many of those hours which you could possibly sell if everybody worked 39 hours a week without a break, all doing paid work, how many of the hours you currently sell do you sell percentage-wise? So our number came out at roughly 24%. So we know that as a business there is opportunity to grow the amount of revenue through the company without actually bringing in more resource. So that for us is a challenge, and that's something that as a business we're going to try and work on with the new structure, with our vision of where we want to go. And once we achieve our target in what's called this cup, which is the cup shape you see on the screen, we'll then change that cup and make it bigger. and then try and fill that cup up, and so forth, until we get to a point where we're happy where the business is. So these are 3 projects the other directors worked on, done fantastically well, with help from the rest of the team, to try and structure and think about where the company's going in the future. The project I worked on was the culture in the business. I say I worked on it, I led a team of 6 great people from across the business, all with different experiences and ages. And the idea of improving the culture, as Richard said, was to make Adido a better place to work. The term we've used internally is to become an employer of choice. We want people to come and work for us because they know Adido is a great place, rather than us actually having to go and get people. That is already starting to happen. But what we want to do from our culture project is set the rules of how we internally want to be. If you're going to work for Adido, you need to have these values and you need to live by this culture. So this is what the culture project aims to achieve. It will also help to bring us together. If you've got a squabble with someone in a different department or a different team or in your team, you can resolve it. You're all working towards the same goal, you walk into the same vision, you're living by the same cultures and values. And as Richard said again earlier on, there are many other digital agencies out there. Some of them are great, some of them not so great. But the way that we do things is different to all of those other businesses, and that makes us unique. When you buy an Adido website, when you get some marketing from Adido, it's unique because of the way it's delivered, it's unique because of the people that have the same culture and values. That helps us deliver better service to you, so you should see better results from the work that you get. You may have a supplier already used for digital marketing, fine. But if you come to us, we should, through the values and culture we have, deliver better service to you, which is obviously should make you more money as well. And from the business and board perspective, by having a better culture, it should increase the value of the business in the long term, so that we can all buy our boats or buy our rugby clubs or whatever we want to do when we're older. So culture, we've tried to improve ourselves, and how do we know if good culture is good or culture is bad? Well, there are examples everywhere. Every company you ever go to, every person you interact with will have a set of values that they live by. Some are good, some are bad. And if we think about examples of bad culture and bad values in the last few years, I came to the conclusion that banking has got a very, very bad reputation, primarily because of the values that the people live by in those organisations. So 4 or 5 years ago, the banking crisis happened. Northern Rock went to the wall, Lloyds, TSB, RBS, all got bailed out by the government for billions and billions of our money. Great. How did they get in that mess? They thought they were too big to fail. We're banks. We've got loads and loads of money. Nothing you can do to touch us. You ought to keep taking your cash. Forget everybody else. They don't really matter. The culture in those banks was wrong. This is a statement I found on a website regarding the banking culture. Someone analysed what was wrong with it. It said basically they treated everyone like muppets. There was a fear of being sacked. There was a fear of being pushed to the side. And if anyone said, "Oh, I don't agree with this," you're out the door. The culture changed, he said, to require fixing the banking system is enormous. And that was 2008, 2007. Have we fixed the banking problem? I don't think so. Obviously, there's other stuff going on, I know that, but fundamentally, internally, those banks still, and it's the same with a lot of big corporations, they don't probably have the right culture to make things work. Does anybody know who this guy is? Again, no comments from the front row, please. Yes, Tony Zeith, so Richard's done my thunder a little bit. As we said, he made culture number 1. If you look on his desk, you can see there, 2008 culture book. Look how big it is. That's not a little pamphlet. It's not something he made on a little Word document printed off and stuck in a drawer. It's on the top of his pile, and it's massive. Culture is so big to that company. They spent, I don't know how long, writing their culture book. They published it, made it look really, really good. As Richard said, that commercially, that translated into a lot of money. They sold their company for $1.2 billion, and it made him worth $840 million, which isn't too shabby. So he can look there quite nice, and in his nice office. So these are the values that we have, and the whole point of us being here today is to educate our clients and tell as many people as we can about the values that we hold true to our business. There Now, these values we introduced a few months ago: passion, understanding, and community, or as we call it, CUP, community, understanding, passion. Within those, there are sub-values, and the team of 6 people I pulled together to help create the Culture Club. They came up with these values. It wasn't me. We all talked about them for quite a long time over various cups of tea. And we thought about, okay, if these are the values we want to have inside of the business, how do we make them happen? So we came up with some projects, came up with some tasks we wanted to put into the business to make these values happen. And obviously that's one of the reasons why we're here today. So when we introduced the values into the team, we had a very, very big, very, very thoughtful presentation from the Culture Club. Everyone was in the room. We had far too many scones with cream and jam on them. We had some fun and games where we had to piece together the words to pick out the values that we were going to try and work towards. And one of the activities, which was thought up by the Culture Club team, was to try and earn more respect. Respect is a value we want to have. We want to share respect of our clients. We want to share respect of our teammates. So how do we earn respect? Well, if we have a big day where we tell everyone about what's happening in industry and they listen to the thoughts that we have and we share our knowledge with them, that will earn respect. That's what we're trying to achieve. So this is one of the activities, just one of the activities that we're trying to do to improve one of our small values. So hence why I'm here today. Also coming off of this was sharing our knowledge through the Adido Academy. So we're doing some training. We're going to expand this out wherever we do talks for anyone. The Adido Academy banner will be up. So Claire here on the bottom right is part of that. We'll all be part of this in the coming months and years to help, again, share our knowledge, earn trust and respect with the local community. So that's where Adido has come from. This is where Adido, I guess, is at now as a business. We want to share that with you today so that you understand where we're going, and hopefully you can be part of that future with us. So what about the future of digital marketing, the future of online? As I say, we've got some great speakers today in the seminars and the workshops. Listen to them, understand what they're saying, or have a chat with them. They'll be more than happy to share their ideas. I'm going to touch upon, I guess, all of these things that the guys are going to talk about at the very top level and very, very quickly. So every year we, on our blog, or I say we, I have tried to write my predictions for the next 12 months in the digital world. I did one 2009, did one 2010, where I predicted what would happen in the next 12 months in terms of the digital world. And at the end of the year, I then reflected back to see how right I was or wasn't. These are blog posts that you can find on our recently improved blog. End of 2011, I didn't get the chance to do that because I had a baby girl called Poppy. I had to get a slide of her in there somewhere, I do apologise. So I didn't do any predictions, but there will be one in the next month or so. Come back to our blog, have a look to figure out what we think is going to happen. There'll be 10 things on there, some of which will be covered already today. But the main trend that we're seeing at the moment is about being, I guess, being real. Now we have social media. Everyone in any business can talk about anything, anywhere, which sounds quite scary, but it's actually happening. The amount of big brands that we see who have Twitter profiles or have made social media faux pas, the list is seemingly getting bigger and bigger every day. So fakeness doesn't really work anymore online. This is a trend we're seeing in 2012. If you're trying to fake stuff, people will find out and they'll probably collar you. So Facebook looked into their users that are now using Facebook, and they said, how many profiles look dubious? And they figured out a few months ago about 83 million people, in inverted commas, on Facebook are fake. If you get added by these, you used to get it quite a lot, added by these random people you've never met before with a picture, create a fake profile, you're not going to accept them. But the big brands were probably doing this to try and increase their number of likes, increase their followers, or whatever it was, to make themselves look more popular than they actually were. People don't want to see fake companies. If you get spotted having fake users liking your page, probably not going to work very well. Google also wanted to get rid of fake stuff. They keep releasing updates to their algorithm. The algorithm is a secret source that makes websites appear number 1 or number 2 in the listings, depending on all of these different factors. They released 2 updates this year, one called Penguin, which was looking at bad content online, and one called Panda, which was looking at artificial link profiles, I guess. They are the right way around, aren't they? Yeah. So fake content, fake links, all this stuff, Google was clamping down on as well. So that's Facebook, that's Google. They don't want fake stuff in their results. It doesn't help their users. Also, people produce fake machines. Fake, I don't know what that is. It's an iPad Maxi or something? I don't know. It's huge. You're not going to buy that. So when I went to a talk recently, it was actually about search marketing. There was a guy there called Will Reynolds. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Will Reynolds. Probably not. If you type him into Google, you actually see a male model. So you need to type Will Reynolds SEO, and you'll see this guy. He works for a company called Seer Interactive. They're a digital marketing agency based in the US. And in his talk recently, he kept on using this hashtag, RCS. What the hell is RCS? Anyone want to propose what it might be? No? Sorry? Royal College of Surgeons, not quite. Being American and being very passionate and enthusiastic as he was, RCS actually means real company stuff, or to use the Will Reynolds version, real company shit. So what he's saying is, if you're a business and you're trying to do stuff online, you've got to do real company shit. You can't fake stuff anymore. You've got to be yourselves, and you've got to have good ideas, good products, communicate with your audience properly. Don't try and spam, don't try and cut corners. Your audience isn't going to like it. And if they spot that you're being fake, they're going to tell their friends, they're going to point fingers at you, and they're going to make your business look bad. So you've got to do real company stuff, and you're going to get far online. So Google know that fake stuff has worked in the past. We know, because we do tests, that fake stuff still sort of works. But the point he made is Google's got 1,500 people that work for me who've got PhDs. Do you know anyone that's got a PhD? One person. We know who that is. 2 people. The collection of 1,500 PhDs plus everyone that works in Google, these tens of thousands of people, all sitting there every single day trying to figure out how to spot bad stuff and good stuff. A few years ago, you could spam things, you could scam things. It would all work, but not now. They've caught up with us to more or less an extent. Some stuff still works, but long term it probably won't. Google has so much information. This is just one example from the Google search results. So you know you do a search for local things like hairdresser in Southampton. You get maps, right? Seen the maps come up and some listings, and then the normal listings underneath that, and the paid ads. All of those things work independently. This is just the maps section from the Google search results. This is the amount of information they reckon that Google can pull together to identify whether a company is real or fake or not. This is just, I looked at this and this boggles my mind. How does all this stuff link together? Data. Data, 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 data. Google can pull all this stuff because it has so much leverage with all these businesses. It can scrape every single website in the world if it really, really wants to. And it can start to piece together whether a business is real or not. If you try and fake yourself online, you're really going to struggle, and you may get penalised, and you may start to disappear out of certainly the Google listings. So if you're going to succeed, you need to understand what's going on, you need to be real, and you need to work with someone that understands the digital sphere and where things are going to go. So you need to have teamwork, whether it's with us or some other digital agency. There's so much going on now, it's hard to do everything yourself. So that's the sort of general trend that I've seen in the last 12 months. What about each of the different areas of digital marketing in the next 12 months? Well, mobile is a huge, huge thing. We already talked about this, I keep calling it double E, it's not, is it? It's EE, everything everywhere. 4G is going to probably change the way we communicate for the next 12, 24 months significantly. You're not going to need to be sat at home to use your computer anymore. You could sit anywhere in the world and you still get your broadband speeds, you can still watch your football, you can still watch your films, whatever it is. And mobile is growing at a terrific rate. So in the UK, 13% probably of all traffic to the internet is generated from mobile devices. Now, we still need to define clearly what a mobile device is, because when mobile was first coined a few years ago, we only really had mobile phones and a couple of these Microsoft touchpad-y things. Then the iPad came out, and now we have an iPad mini, and now we have a Nexus, and now we have an Android thing and a Kindle thing and God knows what else. So mobile will start to be split up into actually a mobile phone and tablet devices, I think. But certainly mobile traffic is on the uptake hugely. Some of our clients, we're redesigning their websites now to make them mobile friendly, because 2 years ago they weren't, or you didn't need them to be. But now 20-30% of traffic comes through mobile. So that is a very big concern. If you haven't thought mobile already, then you need to start thinking mobile now. This is from Gartner, I think. They predicted a couple of years ago that mobile internet usage would start to overtake desktop usage at the end of 2013. I think that's pretty good prediction. Roughly end of 2013 is where we're going to see mobile traffic overtake desktop. I think that's pretty good. So if you're not mobile ready, you're not thinking mobile, you're not thinking about your audience, your users who are using their mobiles, you definitely need to start thinking like that. Not only that, you also need to be thinking about when they're using their mobiles. This is a graph taken very recently from Google. They're doing a very, very big push on mobile. We went to an event called Think Mobile a couple of months ago. This is one of the screenshots they showed, which showed the usage of each device during the day. So you can see tablets have a massive uptake of usage towards the end of the day. Well, why is that? Everyone gets home, 5 o'clock from work, sit down, watch the telly, just go on my iPad, go on my Android thingy, whatever it is, start to surf the web and watch TV at the same time. And perhaps even have their phone on at the same time as well. We live in a 2, maybe 3 screen world. If you're the BBC, they think about 4 screen world. How complicated do we want to make this? BBC think of designing their content for 4 different devices. So mobiles, computers, tablets, and also internet-ready TVs, which I'd never really thought about, but in the coming years, I think we'll start to see much more interactiveness on TV, perhaps even more than we do already. Than, they've got the hashtag, but you'll start to see discussions next to the TV program you're working on, and it will just, again, revolutionise everything. So 4 screens is what they're thinking about. We already think about mobile and tablets, so we design our websites to be responsive. That means that you take one set of content and you display it differently depending on the device which is accessing it. So you only need to have one website, maintain one place, and it will adjust itself. I don't know how. Listen to one of the speakers this afternoon. They'll probably go into the detail of how it works. But that's the best way to do it. So you could go off and build apps if you want to be mobile ready. I know, I'll build an app. Loads of people have got apps on their phones, right? Yeah, I've got loads of apps on my phone. Do I use them? Sometimes. If you want to create paid apps, then your best target market is all the Apple users. They're the ones that spend the money. If you're targeting people on Androids, then they tend to spend less money. They still want their free stuff. Again, Chris will probably come onto this later on, where we'll talk about whether apps are needed or not. Are you going to talk about that? Good. If you think, well, okay, well, maybe I don't want to create something paid for. It's going to take a lot of time. Are people going to spend their money on it? I don't know. What about a free app? That's a good idea. Anyone can download that. But what we tend to see with free apps is they get used a couple of times and then they don't really get used after that. So after the initial exposure of your brand for 5-10 seconds on some funny game or some funny noise-making machine, whatever it is, people don't use your app after that. So really need to think about mobile, analyse your users, get some data on what they do, what they don't do, and then think about how you can exploit that. So that's mobile. What about SEO? SEO is search engine optimization, all about getting your website listed on those magical free listings underneath the paid stuff that we don't really like on the Google search results. As I already talked about, Google wanted to clamp down on rubbishy content and rubbishy links. The Panda and Penguin updates caused huge amounts of uproar in the industry earlier this year. They've made it a real challenge to get rankings now. A lot of our clients have got good rankings, still maintain good rankings, and have had them for years because we use a mixture of different techniques to get our clients number one. We don't rely on stuff that could potentially be seen as bad. So this is what link building used to look like and still possibly can do potentially at the moment. You go into Google, you type in add a link, or I want to add a link, or I add a URL, and you type in your category. You find up some people who can put links on their website back to yours, and you get some links. Well, that sort of works, and it has worked for a number of years, but we need to really rethink how we do link building. Google also wants to think about delivering content to users based on where they are. So if you are on your mobile phone and you connect to 3G or 4G or whatever it is, Google knows that you're in a certain place. It's quite scary by itself. And it will serve you information based on where you are. So if you typed hairdressers and you stood here, it would show you hairdressers who are near Southampton without you having to type anything else because it knows where you are. So the Venice update, which happened end of last year, beginning of this year, changed Google's algorithm so that instead of typing hairdressers in Southampton and getting hairdressers in Southampton web pages, you now just had to type hairdressers because the Venice algorithm said, well, if you're in this location and you type in this phrase, then I'm going to show you local results without you having to type in anything else. So again, that was a big change to the SEO algorithms. Another change to the SEO algorithms this year was a thing called Google plus your world. So if you had a Google Plus profile and you did a search on Google and you're in this specific area of Google, then your organic listings weren't generic. They were tailored specifically to you. So you'd see images that your friends like, people that like some of the stuff and the results, all sorts of stuff to do with you and everyone that you know showing up in the organic results. So it's a personalised search engine all of a sudden. How do I get my ranking, which is number 10 now, to number 1 for every single different person in the room? That's quite a challenge. So as well as making SEO harder, Google also squeezed the real estate on some certain phrases. So we used to just have 10 blue links, right, a few years ago. That was nice and easy for if you're in SEO. Now you have paid listings, you have the map listings, and on certain phrases, this is all up in the air because Google changes things all the time, you only have 7 results. So there you can see in the green, instead of having 10 links, you now just have 7. So actually you've got your chance to rank is actually reduced even more if you're in a certain particular industry. Certain localized ones, all fine, still 10. But certain of the premium ones, which Google obviously wants to monetize for their own pockets, will have less real estate. So SEO is much harder than it used to be. Add to that, sorry, keep going on, a thing called author rank. Have you ever seen this before in the listings? A couple of people. So if you author some content, you can add a tag which then links back to your social media profiles and it pulls through your images onto the search results. So you can see who the author was. You can see how many friends they've got or how many circles they're in on Google+, etc., etc., etc. So if you're trying to rank your website in the top 5, brilliant, I'm at number 2. But who here is going to click on position number 1 or 5 for their main first click? Are you going to click on the one that's got the image next to it or the one that's got the highest listing? Someone did some research on this the other day, and he had a website which ranks number 1, 2, 3 for the same phrase. Wow, that's really good. Number 3, which had his picture next to it, outstripped traffic compared to number 1 and 2 combined by 200%. So the power of the author image is huge. Again, if you're creating content online, then you need to start authoring it yourself to get the best results. And we're going to probably start to see in a few years these authors that have the most authority being the people we go to seed our content out to. It's already starting to happen, but more and more in the next year we'll start to see that happen. And you'll get a thing called author rank, which is a phrase I typed in there, which basically says if you're an author and you've got authority, your content will rank higher than someone else that isn't. So it basically means we need to spend more time online writing more content, as if our jobs aren't hard enough already. So in addition to that, Google announced that they make 500 changes to their algorithm every year. That's 1 or 2 changes every single day. So if you're looking at your rankings, then it's really hard to draw conclusions sometimes as to whether you're actually number 1 for 1 minute or one day, or number 5 the next day, or number 2 for the next day. For whatever reason that fluctuation may be, it's Google just playing around with stuff. So if you're going to do SEO, it's a really difficult thing now. It's really hard. It doesn't mean you can't do it, and it doesn't mean you can't be really, really mega successful. You just have to think differently and certainly approach it in a different way that you used to. And the way that SEO has traditionally worked has been about having really good content and having really good links coming to your website. Most people know this. This is the way Google tends to work. But now they've added this Google Plus, or built this Google Plus, they want to get social signals into their algorithm, because social signals are really good ways of figuring out whether content is actually popular or whether it's artificially popular. Links can be bought, links can be gamed, links can be created automatically if you want them to be, but you can't really fake 10,000 people liking a particular blog post, because that's really hard to do, right? You can't fake 10,000 people liking something. So they're working now, I guess, what's called the mum principle. This is picture number 2 of my baby. And Emma, my wife, is the mum. If Emma likes something and her friends like something, that's a genuine like. It's not a webmaster sat in a room who knows HTML code, who can program stuff, who knows some other webmasters, who knows how to do things which are really complicated, creating false links and false equity for all these different websites. That's really an artificial world that SEO and link building has grown up in the last few years. We now need to start paying attention to mums who can press a button and like something and vote for something. And if enough people vote something across the world, then that actually is a really good sign this content is really, really powerful and should be ranked higher than something that isn't. So it's going to become a bit of a popularity contest rather than a technical type thing. So something like funny cat videos. They get lots and lots of views, lots and lots of thumbs up. 4.5 million people like this crazy cat. That's good, okay. Well, people do like that stuff. But what about genuine content that's really, really good? Again, going back to the Will Reynolds example, how many people have seen this? No one, okay. It's a website that his company built, which he said, right, how do I know all these tech companies out there, how do they make their money? He had an actual question. How do they make their money? How does Spotify make money? How does Facebook make money? I have no idea. So he set about creating some really good content to tell people how they make their money. Other people must have the same question, right? I don't know how Facebook makes money. So there's a link there at the bottom. There's loads of big companies you've all heard of. If you hover over them or click them, it shows you and gives you a bit of description about how these companies make money. I don't pay for Facebook, so how has it grown to all these billions and millions of people, and I don't know how it works. Find out. So he created some really good content. Within 34 days, it had 10,000 likes on Facebook, 7,000 tweets, and 500 Google Plus ones. People like good content. If they like good content, they'll tell their friends about it. So this is the way we need to think about our SEO and our link building in the longer term. As I say, some stuff still works at the moment, but longer term, this is the sort of thing you're going to start to see. And how do Will Reynolds know where to start seeding that piece of content, really good content, and get all those likes? It didn't just happen by accident. He knew who to tell and when and what to tell them. And the way he knew, again, going back to what I said earlier on, is by data. You can mine loads of social information online quite quickly now with the right tools and the right knowledge. Piece all that information together, and you know the best people to speak to at the right time. Bang, your content has gone out, and you get millions and millions of links almost instantly. So that's SEO. Coming on to PPC. PPC is the thing we all love to hate. You have to spend money on it. You have to use it if you want to get your website noticed. It's a necessary evil, but it does work really, really well. Google makes this is not taken from the Will Reynolds tool, But did you know Google makes 97% of its revenue from Google AdWords? Does anyone know that? So every time you click on that advert, you're making Google money. That's the only way they really make any money at all. And they're a billion pound company. So unsurprisingly, this year, they've pushed pay-per-click ads more onto the search results pages. That's good in some instances and bad in others. Because do we always want to see paid ads? Maybe, but they've tended to be a lot better over the last few years. A few years ago, there was lots of paid ads for loads of rubbish stuff, but now actually it's really good stuff generally. So paid ads have got more real estate. So if you want to get in front of the right people more quickly, get some paid ads up. Quite simple. So if more people are clicking on more ads and they're showing it more often, why has Google's revenue gone down for the first time in, well, almost ever? Well, mainly because mobile clicks are not worth as much. So there's a reason why they bought Android all those years ago. It's part of a long-term game to make mobile the center point of the Google world rather than the desktop. So cost per click is falling at Google. They need to do something about it. Watch this space because next year there'll be lots and lots of changes coming in. But Google also owns YouTube. YouTube's got loads of pay-per-click options on it. This is just one example here where you can put an advert on front of a video that you own. You can put an advert in the search results. You can put an advert as an overlay. You can do loads of stuff with pay-per-click on Google and also on YouTube. So think about that if you're trying to get more visitors. But also pay-per-click works on Facebook. So one of the ways Facebook makes money is by having paid ads on the right. And now they introduced this really cool tool called custom audiences about a month ago, I think. If you've got an email database in your CRM, you can take that data, give it to Facebook, and Facebook will then create a custom audience in the Facebook world of all the people that have a matching email to your database and on Facebook. So if you can't market back to people that you spoke to 2 years ago, you can sort of market back to them, called remarketing, using this thing. So Facebook won't tell you who matched or how often or whatever. It just creates this group of people that you know about, that they know about, and you can start to show your adverts to them. Really quite powerful, also a little bit scary again, but that's the world we live in. And again, how does that work? It's by having the data in your office and the data on Facebook. Connect the two bits of data up, you're onto a winner. So it's all about data. Sorry, keep reiterating the point. Finally, social. Social, everyone uses social, right? Everyone's got a Facebook page. Hands up who doesn't have a Facebook page. Oh, 5, 6, that's good. A lot of people use Twitter. Who doesn't have a Twitter? Well, everyone's got Twitter, brilliant. Not everyone, most people. How many people are on Facebook at the moment? Does anyone know? Can you shout a number out in the world? Nearly a billion? So, sorry? Just over a billion, yeah. You are. That's a very good point. We'll come on to that one. People still seem to think that if they create a business page on Facebook, not everyone, but some people think, create my business page on Facebook, I'll get loads of people liking it automatically. This is a slide I picked up from about a month ago. I went to a social media conference, which basically says social media doesn't fix anything. It just amplifies things. If your restaurant sucks, it just sucks harder on social media. It doesn't make your chicken fingers taste better or your beer taste bolder. Social media is not a good place to go if you're terrible at what you do. I think that's pretty true. And going back to what I said before, if you're trying to fake stuff, don't go on social media. People will shoot you down within 2 seconds. So Facebook, as we correctly said, now reached the magical billion user mark, although obviously reports saying 83 million of those are now discounted, so maybe it's only 900 million people. That's still pretty bloody big. From 5 years ago where we were roughly 50, 100 million, maybe not even that. So Facebook has become ingrained in society. Everyone uses it. It's a great place to be, I guess, isn't it? Everyone spends all their time on Facebook. If you're going to go social networking, half of the people who do social networking spend it on Facebook. They've also included Yahoo Answers as social networking. I'm not quite sure about But does anyone know what happened to the Facebook stock price when they went public earlier this year? Sorry? Tanked big time. So from a starting point of nearly $40, within the space of nearly 6 months, it nearly halved. So a company that was worth, I think, more than almost any other business on the planet at some point became half as valuable within 6 months, despite the fact they've got more users than ever. And why is that? Should we be worried? Not really. Facebook spent a lot of money on a thing called Instagram, which is basically a photo sharing platform. Anyone use Instagram? Yeah, quite a few people. Why do they buy Instagram? Well, it's because Instagram is a mobile platform. It's a mobile social network. Not many people use Instagram on their desktop. It's a mobile-specific social network. It had about 100 million users, which is actually quite a threat to Facebook. Okay, they're the most well-known, everyone uses it, blah, 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 blah. That's still a threat. Pay the money, they're gone. They're not a threat anymore. And we also own a mobile social network which we can start to leverage. So they spent some money. That may have hurt their stock price. But it was also because they realised that mobile is the centre of where Facebook needs to be. So the Facebook feed, this is what everyone uses Facebook for, right? Do people go on pages? Do people visit brand pages? Do people click on the adverts on the right? I'll tell you, not many people do from our numbers. People go on Facebook for this. I think investors realise that, yes, there's a value in a user, but it's not quite as big as perhaps we thought it was, because all we come is just to look at what our mate's been up to down the pub last night. So these numbers that we see in terms of likes, followers, friends, interactions, whatever, they're all really big. And they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger because more and more people are doing it. But investors know that's not the be-all and end-all. And as business owners, we probably need to start thinking the same way. So what if 39,000 people like the Saints fan page on Facebook? That's good. There's loads of people liking Saints. Well, we knew that already because they get 30,000 filling up every Saturday down St Mary's. 54,000 people like Saints on Twitter. That's pretty good as well, yeah? Is it? I don't know. It's a big number. On YouTube, they launched a channel, I think 6 months ago, or a year ago. Over 1 million plays of the Saints videos on YouTube. These are all big numbers, but they're currently how most people who do social media measure success. How many likes have we got? 500,000. We need 600,000. Why do you need more? You've got to think about the bottom line. If you're Saints, all you think about is how many season tickets you've sold, how many match day tickets you've sold, and then how many people bought burgers and cans of Coke when they were in the stadium. That's what really matters. It's not about the social media numbers, it's about what it actually means in terms of return on investment, I guess. Quite a basic business thing. How much stuff have you sold? How many times have you sold it, and who to? So the social media numbers, we need to, I think, change our vision as to what is successful and think again about what all of that means to us, relate it to us in our personal business context, and then actually figure out whether we should be doing more or less social media, and if so, which way. And the way we know about that, again, is data. We should be tracking people as much as we can through the different social media channels, through to conversion, either online or offline, to see actually if we are getting return on investment. Still, big companies, we went to a talk a few months ago, big companies spending tens of hundreds of thousands of pounds every year on social media, they don't do this. But we need to do this. This is where we can get our advantage. So that's the digital world for 2013, where I think it's going to go. I haven't covered design, I haven't covered usability, I haven't covered development. All the other guys are here to do that. They know much, much more than I do about all of those specific things. So I encourage you to listen to them as much as you can and take away as much as you can from today as possible. So to summarise my key takeaways for you, number one is to be real and don't fake it. If you fake it, people are going to blow the whistle on you, they're going to start to berate you, and you're potentially going to end up with egg on your face. Second thing to take away, I think is really, really important, is to look at your mobile people visiting your website. How many people visit your website on a phone? How many people visit on a tablet? Does your website even work on a mobile device? I was trying to sell some stuff on eBay the other day, so I knew how to do it on my desktop. I was sat in bed ill, feeling sorry for myself. I can't go downstairs, can't get out of bed. I'll go on my phone, I'll do the same operation on my phone. The button to edit my listing on my phone and on my tablet didn't work on a mobile device. This is eBay, right? The world's biggest marketplace or whatever it is. I couldn't press the button because it wasn't mobile enabled. Sorry?
Have you updated the app?
I've got the app. The app doesn't do it either. Really frustrating. So you've got to be mobile ready. Test your stuff on mobile. If it doesn't work on mobile, have a word with someone who can fix it. And the third thing, as I've touched upon in terms of each of these different areas, is data integration and analysis is the key to success. If you start to collect all this data in different silos, as we're finding to our own pain, it's quite hard to link it all up and figure out what's working, what isn't. So you need to create some platforms, create some numbers that will allow you to measure from A to Z and everything in between to figure out where you're getting best return on your investment in terms of either money or time. So that's the three things I want you to try and take away and think about. That's it from me. I'm quite surprised my voice has held out for this long. So thank you, voice. I'll thank you very much for listening and also take some any questions if you've got them now. Thank you.